of its policy.
Louise Hubston.
Tēnā koe e te kai whakawā. Me mihio ki te whare nei. Mr Speaker, I am pleased to stand in opposition to the Parental Leave and Employment Protection 6 months paid leave amendment bill, and I want to go through it in some quite clear reasons. Mr Speaker, what I do want to be very clear about from the outset of this debate, this is not a debate about the merits of paid parental leave. This is not a debate about whether this government has children at the heart of its interests. That is not a debate about our commitment to children. It is absolutely not. And, Mr Speaker, I want to go through that in quite a lot of detail. It's kind of interesting that the member that has brought this particular bill into the ballot that's been drawn has been a member of Parliament for 7 years now. 3 of those in government, Mr Speaker, and so if this was so important, if this was her one sole purpose for being, I'm highly surprised as to why it is 7 years later that this becomes such a priority when they are in opposition. But I think that's sort of, part of the existence of Planet Labour, where they do the most important things when they're in opposition, or at least they can promise that because they don't have to pay for it. And that's what happens in Planet Labour because money grows on trees. Nationals focused, Mr Speaker, on responsibly managing the government's finances. We have children at the heart of our interests. One of the things we are committed to not doing is leaving our children and grandchildren with mountains and generations of debt, which is what that side of the House is happy to do. This side of the House has more interest in making sure that we do have an economy that is managed responsibly. And I want to just, given that the Speaker made some comparisons to other countries, Mr Speaker, I thought it was worth touching on where the other countries sit with this currently. There are countries that have longer paid parental leave entitlements than New Zealand. Portugal has 17 weeks, Italy has 5 months, Greece has 17 weeks, and Spain has 16 weeks. Now, I think those countries would be familiar to more than a few of us in the House and those listening, and the disastrous economies that they are running currently. And it's an example of some of the government spending that is not sustainable. There are actually, Mr Speaker, some countries currently who are looking at cutting their paid parental leave. They are looking at cutting their paid parental leave. This government is protecting the existing entitlements. Even Germany. Germany is one of the stronger economies in Europe, and they have had to make savings in their paid parental leave. So, Mr Speaker, it's not something that's unique for us. We have been protecting the interests of parents in New Zealand. The Minister of Women's Affairs before me, the Honourable Joe Goodyew, spoke about the array of things that this government is doing in terms of investing in children. That side of the House might not be interested in listening, but there is a significant amount of work that we have done. And I don't think that it should be belittled that in these difficult economic times we should be protecting entitlements. And I want to give you an example, because when paid parental leave was introduced in 2002, the uptake exceeded predictions. Some would say that's a good thing, absolutely. But the difficulty is it's yet another example of a spending program that Labor introduced with no reality in terms of what the financial cost would be. It increased 175% between 2003 and 2010. So 175% increase and only 14% more babies. Now, Mr Speaker, I'm proud to be a working mother. I was staggered to hear a debate last week by a member of the Labor Party, Mr Prasad, who was basically implying that mothers weren't capable of doing 2 things at once. In the social securities debate, that member suggested it was too difficult for mothers to work and that it was hard on their children. Well, this side of the House believes that women are capable of doing more. The Minister of Women's Affairs has given you our record, and so, Mr Speaker, I am more than proud to say that we are opposing this piece of legislation. We are managing the economy in a strong and sensible way, and we are protecting our children and supporting our families and making our communities stronger. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Denise Rose.